Hey guys, it's Hunter. Welcome back to another episode of AskGufish. This is the series where I answer some of your questions and we talk about some of the latest guitar releases of the week. Kind of like your weekly guitar roundup, this week in guitar gear. Don't forget to join our Discord server. That's where I pull all the questions from if you've got one for a future episode. If you go on to enjoy the video, do me a favor and give that like button a polite little smack. I don't know what this was, but it actually really helps out. The difference between a video that gets liked a lot and a video that doesn't is actually pretty huge with the algorithm, so I really appreciate it. And with that, let's jump into your questions and talk about guitars. Legit Soldier asks, I don't know if my eyes deceived me, but did you see the new Nickelback music video where Chad Kroeger had a 7-string Gibson Explorer? New SIG maybe? So my first reaction to seeing this question was, nah, Chad Kroeger's been playing 7-string Explorers a while, nothing new to see here. Might have been wrong on that though, but like, if you don't think Nickelback plays 7 strings, or if you don't think Nickelback tunes low, you don't listen to Nickelback. The singles do tend to be a little generic copy and paste, and there's a reason they're the poster child for generic butt rock, but they have some heavy riffs. Listen to the intro of Feed the Machine. Inside of a Bullet was written around an unused dime outtake solo that Rita Haney sent them. That's a heavy track. Don't sleep on Nickelback. And because they have more money than God, their sound production is genuinely insane. Their sound is massive. As you can maybe tell, I actually like Nickelback. Unironically, like, even outside the music, it's just hugely impressive how good they are at being a professional rock band, you know what I mean? They've been the butt of every music joke for literally like 2 decades at this point. Not many bands can claim to be that relevant. They're immensely successful and they can write some stupidly catchy hooks. But anyways, going all the way back to the Burn It to the Ground video, that's the first time I remember seeing Chad Kroeger playing a 7-string. It was like a custom-built PRS, because for a long time he was a PRS guy. Man, seeing that 7-string PRS was mind-blowing. It was like, what? Nickelback tunes low? That was 2010, before I'd seen the Nickelback Lite. Soon after that, though, he switched mostly to Gibson. The 2012 rig rundown is full of Les Pauls and a blacked-out 7-string Explorer. That was actually a production model, part of the limited goth run Gibson did around 2010. EMGs, no inlays, and Chad was using that for Burn It to the Ground and This Is War, which is an absolute banger you should check out as well. I think that's the lowest Nickelback goes in terms of tuning. Drop A sharp, Slipknot tuning. Matt Heafy had one from about the same time in white that he used live for all the 7-string Shogun songs. But anyways, that's the whole background TED talk that you didn't really need about Nickelback tuning low. But before this question, I hadn't seen the San Quentin video yet. That's their new single, so I thought that the one he's been playing for over 10 years was the one that you were talking about. But no, it turns out you might be onto something. This is the new Explorer he's playing, and I believe it's completely custom. Black guitar with EMGs like the Goths, but to my knowledge, there has never been a production run of 7-string Explorers with block inlays and white fingerboard binding. This is something new and different. Now, Chad Kroeger has had a Gibson signature before, the Blackwater Les Paul. It was basically a Les Paul standard with a transparent black flame top, 490/18, 490R pickups. The cool thing about it is it came with a Graphtec Ghost piezo system, so you get those acoustic sounds. Now, love or hate Chad Kroeger, that's a nice looking Les Paul. And with the piezo, it's a great versatile guitar for live purposes too. 10 years later, he still uses it for photograph, although it looks like he's replaced the humbuckers with Fluence Moderns. So it's got the active voice, the passive voice, and you can blend in the piezo. That's ridiculous. And by the way, for photograph, Ryan Peake, the other guitarist, uses a custom Gibson acoustic with true temperament frets. Even the inlays are squiggly. It's wild. Now, I'd be very surprised if Gibson did another Chad Kroeger signature model. I know Gibson is snapping up artists left and right. Dave Mustaine, Kirk Hammett, Mark Morton. So now anytime we see anyone playing Gibson, it's like, ooh, is that a new signature model? But Chad Kroeger's been playing Gibson a long time, and judging from the latest Nickelback shows, it seems like he enjoys PRS just as much. I'd be especially surprised if they did a signature 7-string. I just think it's too niche. Like, most Nickelback songs are played on 6 strings. Chad Kroeger isn't really known for playing 7 strings. It's just when he does, us guitarists take extra notice because it's like, what? Nickelback is actually heavy? So I think this Explorer is just a custom build, albeit a very cool one. That being said, I'd love to see a piezo model reintroduced into the Gibson lineup, especially since they're such physically chonky guitars. A Les Paul with a piezo sounds great. It doesn't even need to be a signature model, like a Les Paul standard with the ability to blend in those acoustic sounds and without an extra $400 artist tax on the price tag. Legitimately, and this goes for more than just the piezo. Cool features don't have to be limited to just the artist models. Or if they do decide to make another Chad Kroeger signature model, maybe bring the Blackwater back with the fluences, and this time with an ebony board and mother of pearl inlays, so it's like a hybrid between the original and the Les Paul Customs that Chad plays a lot, kind of like what they did with the Adam Jones model. But anyways, we're getting further and further away from the 7-string Explorer you were talking about. Cool model, I just don't see it being a Chad Kroeger signature, but what do you think? Can't wait to hear your thoughts about the guitars and about Nickelback down below. And speaking of things that are not Chad Kroeger's signature 7-string Explorer, the sponsor of today's video, Ridge. And right now they're giving you the chance to win either a custom built Ford Bronco Raptor or $75,000 in cash. So like 1 tank of gas for that thing. Worth it. Now, if you watch as much YouTube as I do, you've probably heard about Ridge before and how they're redefining the wallet, because traditional wallets kinda suck. They're big, they're bulky, you collect all sorts of useless stuff, and I'm never going back to that. I use a Ridge wallet myself. They're not just a sponsor because I love the sleek, small form factor that can fit into your front pocket. The quality is excellent, and each wallet comes with a lifetime guarantee. The plates made of aluminum, titanium, or carbon fiber are RFID blocking to block scammers from stealing your information, and they're held together by a durable elastic band. They also have the key case, which is awesome. Basically a wallet for your keys, and it's classic Ridge in design. Slim, lightweight, and durable. There are loads of colors to choose from to match your style. I'm using the Forged Pacific. My brother is partial to navy aluminum. This is Pringle's favorite. So if you want to see why so many people are switching over to the Ridge wallet and love it, heading over to ridge.com/AGGufish. If you use my code AGGufish, you can snag a bonus 10% off. And regarding winning the Bronco or the cash, every dollar spent will give you 2 sweepstakes entries. Link will also be in the description, and of course, clicking helps support the channel by letting them know that I sent you. And while you're making that smart decision to streamline your pants, let's get into the next question. Azzy Richmond asks, thoughts on the Rick Beato Les Paul special? Oh man, cue all the people saying, oh, anybody will get a signature these days. But look, Rick's awesome. He's got one of the most successful music channels on the platform. He knows music, he's got a great career as a producer, and he's actually a very good player if you've seen any of his lesson clips on Instagram. It's actually kind of annoying. He's like, oh yeah, here's how you can take this simple concept to create lead lines. Then he's all over the fingerboard, and I'm like, you dick, that's not simple. I feel attacked on a regular basis. He's a very, very good guitar player, and he's got a whole video on his channel on the story behind his signature Les Paul special double cut, which is a great watch if you got 5 minutes. But I'll give you a quick TLDR. Rick bought his first Gibson when he was a kid with the money he saved up mowing lawns and painting houses. It was a mid-70s Les Paul Custom. Very good choice. So he's been playing Gibson a long time. Did I just call Rick old? You know what I mean. We move. And his signature is based on a blend of 2 of his favorite Gibsons he's known for playing a lot on his Instagram. His TV Yellow double cut, which he says is his best playing guitar, and a Pelham Blue Les Paul Standard. So the signature has a mahogany body, mahogany neck, rosewood fingerboard, and dual P90s, same as your typical double cut. Then with the Les Paul DNA, it's got a bound fingerboard, 4-control layout. It's got a satin open pore finish you'd find on a DC, but in Pelham Blue, a color they never pair this finish with. You know, the open pore finish is generally paired with very simple transparent colors, cherry red, blue, black, brown. Shiny Pelham Blue though, that's new, it looks great. They've also made the guitar lighter by making the body a 1/4 inch thinner than a normal DC. And that also makes upper fret access better. He says it reminds him a lot of his SG, so does that mean there's a lot of neck dive? Don't know, I'd have to play it. Now, Gibson has slapped a $2,000 price tag on this, which seems like a lot. The dual P90 Les Paul Special Tribute, also with the satin finish, is $9.99, so I do not know where that pricing comes from. But here's something on that. He says when he was first approached by Gibson to do a signature, he said no. he doesn't do endorsements. So he's not actually taking any money from the sales. His cut is going to Save the Music Foundation, a music education nonprofit. The arts in the US education system are critically underfunded. It's reported that over 5 million American children don't have access to any sort of music education, and that's just not right. Enter Save the Music. Their mission is to give those children the opportunity for music education. So, you know, with Rick's portion of the revenue going towards helping children, that kind of makes it difficult to complain about the price without looking like a total penis. Massive respect to Rick Beato. He's using his name and platform to not only put a pretty cool guitar into production, but also using that opportunity to give back. And especially since it involves kids. It's kind of like what we're doing with the Mola Runner guitars with Valiant, but with his name is obviously on a much larger scale. So Rick Beato's signature, kind of whatever on it as a guitar, but very supportive of the project. Rick is also based in Atlanta, and unfortunately I haven't had the opportunity to meet the man yet. Atlanta's not a small town, but Rick, if you somehow stumble across this video, much respect. I would like to buy you a beer, dude. But yeah, here's where I'll throw it to you. Rick Beato's signature Pelham Blue open pore satin double cut with a thinner body. What are your thoughts? Before we get into the next question, because it involves something obscenely expensive, keep this on your radar. You asked for it, so I convinced Harley Benton to make it a 30-inch scale-length baritone Jazzmaster. This thing is so sick. Squier made one for a few years, but it became a cult favorite after it was discontinued, especially after Loathe started using it. And they're now ridiculously expensive. People want like $1,000 for them on Reverb, and the price has actually dropped from its peak. The Harley Benton JA Baritone, meanwhile, has launched at $200, which is already great. But one of the common complaints about the Squier is that the bridge was stupid, so I suggested we changed it to a hipshot style hardtail as an improvement. I had also suggested we keep Jazzmaster pickups to keep as faithful to the inspiration as possible. It looks like they've gone with P90s for the final production instead. P90s compared to Jazzmaster pickups are a little warmer, higher output, but should still sound great in drop E. There's a certain magic that happens when you combine a 30-inch scale length with single coils versus humbuckers. There's a certain brightness and twanginess that works really well with such low notes. So anyways, really excited about those. We started work on them well over a year ago, and they're finally here. And yeah, you shouldn't have to pay about $1,000 for a super moddable 30-inch baritone Jazzmaster. That's ridiculous. And now you don't have to. Link to all the details about the JA Baritone in the description. And yeah, I'm definitely getting one for a demo. Actually, since I've been slacking on releasing this video, there have been a couple of other new guitar drops. One more Harley Benton, the TE69 Nice TL. Semi-hollow ash T-style guitar with a roasted maple neck and fingerboard. Not really my thing, but I know there are a lot of Thinline fans out there, and you're not going to find a roasted maple version for that extra stability in this price range anywhere else. And Epiphone just dropped their take on Tony Iommi's signature Monkey SG. Now, the custom shop version was the first insanely expensive collector's edition signature, you know, like $20,000 or whatever ridiculous pricing they slapped on it. Complete recreation of his iconic Monkey guitar, proper plastics and chrome-covered P90s. They made a more reasonably priced Gibson USA version, so an Epiphone version at some point was inevitable. It seems like a natural fit for an Epiphone model, either like super affordable with Epiphone parts and electronics for Iommi fans who want that look on a budget, or premium Epiphone with Gibson USA pickups like Joe Bonamassa' Lazarus 1959 Les Paul Standard. And they have nailed the look, all the plastics and everything look correct. Now, while Beato's model has at least proceeds going to charity, I have no idea where they came up with the price point for this one. Tell me why this SG is $1,000 with Epiphone P90s. Even with this being an artist model and it comes with a custom case, that seems a couple $100 overpriced when you've got both Lazarus and the regular 1959 Les Paul Standard with Gibson USA pickups and hard cases at $100 less. You know, SGs are typically the more affordable ones. From a purely objective standpoint, the Epiphone Monkey seems like a bad deal. In my opinion, $850 seems like a fairer price point for this, seeing as even his previous Epiphones came with Gibson USA pickups. But I'm also not huge into Sabbath, so I might be missing the emotional connection a lot of people will have with this one. Anyways, those are the new releases you should keep on your radar. Back to your questions. Cornwall, the SG lover, asked, did you see Greeny dropped? Yeah, this was a wild one. There's a lot to talk about. Let's talk about it. And I don't even view this Gibson release as a guitar, really. I mean, it is obviously a guitar, but this is pure collector. Before I tell you the price, if you haven't seen it yet, leave your guess down below. It's a limited 50-unit reproduction run of a 59 Les Paul, first played by the iconic Peter Green of Fleetwood Mac. He sold it to Gary Moore of Thin Lizzy fame, who also played it for many years. And now Kirk Hammett of Metallica plays it live all over the world. So the original is a very famous 59 with an incredible lineage, storied history in multiple genres, and this is a Murphy Lab reproduction. Adam Jones' Silverburst Les Paul Custom and Jerry Cantrell's Wino Les Paul Custom Murphy Labs have been pretty pricey at $6,000 to $10,000. So bearing all that in mind, how much do you think this costs? Well, if your guess wasn't $50,000, you're wrong. What the fuck? That's insane. That's straight up the down payment on a house. It's fucking insanity. Now, of course, the Murphy Lab, they're gonna copy all the minute details, all the wear down to every inch of checking. It has the mismatched control knobs, the hardware patina, the neck pickup that has a reversed magnet to give it the signature out-of-phase sound Greeny is known for in the middle position. It's not just the neck pickup has been flipped like in the Adam Jones. From my understanding, it's the magnet inside's polarity that's been reversed. It was an accident from the factory or something that's become iconic accidentally. On this Greeny release, they've even used a Brazilian rosewood fingerboard, which is very banned for harvesting and export, which means they can't even sell any of these 50 guitars outside of the United States, and is also partially what makes it so expensive. But bigger than even the Brazilian rosewood, what makes this guitar so expensive is what comes with it. This goes beyond case candy. This is an experience. Not to say there isn't case candy, you get 6 Kirk Hammett picks. For the price, I feel like you should at least get a whole fucking bag, but okay, we move. Custom Kirk Hammett strap and a signed certificate of authenticity. I should hope so. The case is pretty cool in fairness. It's got Green, Moore, and Hammett's names on them. Hammett's name is newly stenciled, while Green's name is really faded. That's a nice touch. But in addition to just the mere guitar, you also get a one-of-a-kind evening with Kirk Hammett, a curated dinner at Nashville's exclusive Soho House, a private welcome reception with Gibson's leadership team, an exclusive backstage tour of Nashville's premier guitar experience, the Gibson Garage, culminating with the tour of the Gibson Vault, the home of some of music history's most coveted guitars. Okay, guys, we know you like the smell of your own farts, but chill. A commemorative gift collection from the Gibson Garage. Visit the custom shop and meet pioneering master luthier Tom Murphy, who, along with his team, artfully aged each collector's edition guitar. That's a weird grammar thing. Everything else on the list was a noun, and this is visit the custom shop. Shouldn't it be visit to the custom shop? We move. First class round trip airfare for 2 to Nashville, 1 room overnight accommodation at a 4-star hotel in Nashville. That's kind of rude. I feel like you should get a star for every $10,000 you spend, but you know, you can complain all you want about the price of Beato's signature. At least there's money going directly towards helping children. This is just pure self-indulgence. Now, Gibson's fine print says that all the extra stuff is not included with the guitar. It's just an invitation extended to initial buyers, which is so if you buy the guitar secondhand, Kirk Hammett doesn't have to spend an evening with you. But yeah, so I don't know how this is gonna play out with the used market value, since it is a limited 1 of 50, but you're missing out on doing the whole rich people shit aspect that the original buyer is paying a lot for. Guess that's one way for Gibson to solve the scalping problem. I knew it was going to be expensive. Even so, I was pretty excited about it. The more that I saw of it, the more I kind of really wanted one. I mean, it's the first Gibson Metallica Les Paul. With the exception of my family, that's pretty much everything I love packaged up into one guitar. I've been kind of mentally prepping to kick the tires, like, okay, it's a Murphy Lab signature. If I sell a couple of the nicer guitars, if I can get good artist pricing, maybe I might be able to afford one. Before the pricing was unveiled, I actually emailed my Gibson guy being like, please, can I demo this? And he just replied to my clown ass with something along the lines of, yeah, you can't afford this, bro. And he's completely not wrong. What the f? I tallied it up. Even if I sold everything in my studio, I still don't think that comes to covering the cost of Greeny, especially after tax. It's insane. Even though at that price, I wouldn't buy it. It's immensely disappointing to like tally up everything you own and be like, yeah, I still can't afford this. I've never been so devastated to not be ultra wealthy in my life. Such a shame. I still want to try a Murphy Lab at some point, see what all the hype is about. Guess it's not going to be this one, though. The 1968 Black Beauty reissue is like an absolute goals guitar, and suddenly it seems relatively affordable. There's a certain humorous aspect to it. When it was initially sold, the original Greeny was just a Les Paul standard. Nothing really special about it, that's just what Gibson made. Now, not even the original, just reproductions are selling for 50 grand. Though I guess if the rumors are true and Kirk Hammett paid nearly $1 million for the original, technically this is a bargain. But, you know, I'm poking a lot of fun at it. I actually don't have a problem with these obscenely self-indulgent collector's pieces, because while it really doesn't help Gibson's reputation amongst younger fans as being a disconnected dad brand for blues lawyers and dentists, it's not Gibson's only model. They still have the Les Paul standard 50s and 60s, which are expensive, but they're relatively attainable as goals guitars most of us can realistically, over years, work towards. Something like the Hammett Greeny is just not attainable. But the collector's models help build the lore of the Gibson brand, the lore of the Les Paul. And if that helps my 2021 Les Paul standard hold its future resale value, fantastic. And there definitely are more Hammett models on the way. Gibson said they're doing a whole collection across the custom shop, Gibson USA, and Epiphone lines. We know of the Purple V, he's been playing a red standard a lot recently, suspiciously very much like the one Mark Morton has been playing on the road with Lamb of God. And, you know, they've been hyping Greeny up so much as the start of a new era of Kirk Hammett guitars with Gibson. An Epiphone version is inevitable. Probably the same aged gloss they did for the Epi 59 Les Paul standard, hopefully with Gibson USA pickups with the flip magnet so you can get those unique Greeny sounds without shelling out $50,000. My hope is that they'll kind of do something with Gibson USA, like with how Heritage did with their Artisan Aged standard series. Artisan Aged is the Heritage equivalent to the Murphy Lab. The head of Heritage R&D is even the guy basically credited with starting Gibson's custom shop, and they usually only offer Artisan Aged on the custom course, so you're talking $4,700 guitars. But by aging the standard series, they were able to offer that aged look, but more importantly, aged feel on much more attainable guitars. Because we've talked about it before, Relics guitars are not the same as old beat up guitars, because that's what a lot of old guitars are, just beat up and neglected. And old beat up neglected guitars, they feel like shit. A properly Relics guitar feels like it's been well loved and well taken care of for decades. The fingerboard edges are all smoothed out, the finish on the neck is worn off. You pick it up and it feels like you've been playing this thing for years. It's the most comfortable playing experience. You can debate about the looks all you want. I totally understand why some people aren't into the whole worn aesthetic, but in my experience, the only people that really on Relic instruments are the people that have never played a properly Relics one. Like, you can take a guitar and drag it behind a truck or whatever, and yeah, it'll look all f***ed up. That's because it is. Done that way, it's just a f***ed up guitar. Relicking is artistry, and if it's done right, like on the Valiant Jupiter, where the neck, the fingerboard feel like a guitar that's been played and well maintained for 50 years, it's one of the best playing experiences you'll have. Anyways, the point I'm getting to is, with Greeny's extensive history, I don't know how you make a proper production version of this guitar that's not aged and still captures its spirit. So it would be really cool if Gibson did a limited Murphy aged USA production version of Greeny that's somewhat attainable. You know, just like with the Adam Jones models, I think they'll find a way to do something that's high-end but still somewhat attainable. Or I could be wrong, and they don't do a Gibson USA or an Epiphone model. That's when I'd get upset, because they're touting Greeny as the Kirk Hammett Gibson model. It would be very uncool of them to only release a $50,000 version. You know, with this guitar's legacy, with the wide range of artists that used it, there are a lot of people from all genres that would love a version of this guitar that's actually attainable from Gibson. All they'd be doing by only offering an obscenely expensive reproduction that's completely unrealistic for 99% of the population is pushing people down the Gibson route. And I think they're smart enough to avoid that, but we'll just have to wait and see. But anyways, I think I've rambled enough about this one for now. More than enough, honestly. Here's where I'll throw it to you. Thoughts? And now for the segment you've all been waiting for. It's time to hear from yet another adoring fan. It's the high praise of the week. You should at least learn how to play the guitar instead of modifying it. Oh wow, that's real creative. Never heard that one before. You play metal? Oh, that's not real music. Learn how to play the guitar. Super witty. Anyways, now that we're getting near the end of the video, in case you missed it, since last episode I uploaded a demo of my new quote-unquote signature Jupiter from Valiant Guitars out of Ukraine. It's the most ridiculous vintage modern take on a Jazzmaster. Custom shop quality, and part of every sale goes to Save the Children Foundation. They do work on the ground in Ukraine and other war zones to help children and families impacted by war. It looks and feels like a vintage instrument with the worn nitro finish on the neck. The rounded fingerboard edges feel amazing, but it's a total modern sleeper guitar. Stainless steel frets, bare knuckle polymath pickups, D'Addario locking tuners, bell bronze saddles. One of Valiant's signature features is that for all the control plates, control knobs, the neck plate, they use duralumin, a material generally only used in aviation. Very cool, and all in shell pink. I love this guitar, man. The reason I say quote-unquote signature is it was supposed to be just a custom one-off to replace the one that I had, and Chris Robertson of Blackstone Cherry is now playing on tour. But after the invasion, we saw an opportunity to help kids by turning it into a limited production run, so that's the story of how that came to be. It's not cheap. Well, I mean, compared to Greeny, maybe, but relative to other high-end custom shops to get this kind of spec, you're actually getting quite a bit for your money. The attention to detail is incredible. Put it this way, even Fender's custom shop will not age the fingerboard like this. And please bear in mind, they are crafting these guitars in the middle of an active war zone. That makes it a little bit difficult and costly to get parts and materials. Plus, overall, it's just a very difficult situation to make guitars in. The video actually got massively suppressed because of some heavy-handed social media moderation policies. So if you've got a chance to view it, do me a favor and check it out. Hopefully that helps it out in the algorithm and gives Valiant and the project some wider exposure. And we had some viewers asking what it means for the Harley Benton signature. Absolutely nothing. These are completely separate projects. And we just got our latest look at how that's going. New unboxing vlog is up with the latest 3 prototypes. These are actually from a different factory that made the last prototypes, and they were able to do something special with the tops. Go check it out. Tell me what you think. And thank you all for your support and your patience on that project. The first one sold out in the spring of 2020, right before the world imploded. And it's just been an absolute disaster getting anything new launched. Everything from getting parts and materials, like it's been difficult to even get enough brushed chrome bridges for prototypes, let alone a full production run. Then working with factories located across the world when you can't directly visit them is an insane process. Like the neck shape got randomly changed, the fingerboard radius and string spacing got randomly changed on one of the prototypes. Small things on paper, but they completely changed the feel of the guitar. It seems like it should be super easy, just changing a few details from V1, but everything just takes a very long time to finalize properly, because you don't want to produce a whole run of like hundreds of guitars and then only when they arrive it's like, oh no, the neck shape is f***ed up. So anyways, you guys have been incredible with your support. I know it's frustrating. I'm frustrated too. It was supposed to be out for this holiday, and I swear I'm not trying to build artificial hype or suspense. It's genuinely frustrating, but at the same time, I don't want to rush anything out. I want to make sure that when it's done, and when it launches, it's hands down the best spec'd, best playing, best sounding guitar possible. Basically the best value for money in its price category for you guys. Not an easy feat, not one that can be rushed, so really, I can't thank you guys enough for your continued patience. These are going to be ones worth waiting for. And lastly, in case you missed last AskGufish episode, we talked about the current state of Jackson and CHARVEL guitars and how they're actually hype for modern metal players for the first time in a long time. New Death Angel signature As I Lay Dying Silverburst CHARVEL that looks absolutely incredible. And Josh Smith of Northlane is getting the coolest guitar Jackson has ever made, in my Core Kid opinion. 27-inch baritone 7-string with bare knuckles and an Evertune, roasted maple neck through as well, and in that seafoam color. Incredible. 100% getting one. Links to all those will be in the cards and in the description. And that will do it for this episode of AskGufish. Massive shout out to the awesome patrons who make this and all the other content possible. If you want to support the channel as well and get bonus extras, link in the description. You can also join as a channel member. That's a great way to leave a tip if you're enjoying the content and want to support me directly. Social media, affiliate, and Discord server links are in the description. As always, thank you so much for watching. You've been awesome, and I will see you for the next video.